right over here, you can see my New Jersey FID card. In today's video, I'm going to go into details what it took to get that card so you can go ahead and get yourself your very first firearm. If you're new here, this is Modern Maccabee, and on this channel, we're going to talk all things self-defense, guns, training, and more. So if you're interested in any of that, please do consider subscribing down below. So New Jersey has made it as difficult as possible for us civilians to go ahead and get our own firearms, whether that be a pistol, rifle, shotgun, whatsoever, let alone carry them. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can get your FID card and pistol purchaser permits in order to get your first firearm or second firearm here in the state of New Jersey. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to be splitting this up into a 4-step process. Starting off with number 1, it's going to be the online application. I'm going to give you a brief walkthrough of what you have to do to get this done, but it shouldn't take any more from 10 to 15 minutes. Moving on from there is the fingerprinting process. At the end of step 1, you're going to set up your fingerprinting appointment to be done via step 2. As soon as you have that appointment, you move on to step 3, which is simply going your references to fill in their forms and their application. Make sure they do that as soon as possible so that you can actually get your FID card, which is step 4. So as you can see, I'm now sharing my screen and I'm showing you FARS, which is the Firearm Application and Registration System. So over here online is the actual initial first step and application. This link will also be in the video description down below, so you'll be able to get this and be able to fill it out with me, except I'm going to be doing it very, very quickly and just going through everything that you need to know. So firstly, are you a New Jersey resident or a dual resident? You're going to fill this in according to what you are, followed by your ORI number. So your ORI number is basically based on your police department. And I'm going to put a link also to We Shoot USA's ORI numbers. You can see here there's a whole list of different municipalities to get specific ORI numbers based on your location due to your nearest police department. If you need a New Jersey State Police Department, that also works as well. These are also necessary for your actual carry permits. Now, this is the most difficult part that I had, just figuring out which one is the right one to go with and go from there. So now, moving on, we can go ahead, do the ORI number, and move into the next step. So that's going to tell me this. I can hit continue, and we're going to move on to the appropriate blocks. So in this case, we want a firearm purchaser identification card, so that's this one, or the FID, and then we also want a permit to purchase a handgun. Now, every time you get a handgun in New Jersey, you need to get a permit to purchase a handgun. Luckily, one of the things that this allows you to do is get multiple permits. So over here, you can enter the amount of permits, the maximum number being 6. Now, these do expire. Unfortunately, they expire after 90 days. No matter how many permits you get, they are all going to expire in 90 days. So whether that's 1 or 6. So what I suggest is getting a permit when you know you want to get your next handgun. So that's going to be 1, 2, or 3. Otherwise, what New Jersey unintentionally does is because I have a permit that's going to expire, I'm going to actually buy another gun. So just get the amount of permits that you want per handgun. So if you don't plan on getting a handgun right now, you don't have to get any. You can uncheck this. Though I do very much suggest, especially for your first firearm, getting a handgun. So what you're going to want to do is enter 1 permit. All right, that's step 1. Each permit for a handgun is going to cost $25. The main application in and of itself is $50. I believe your FID card does expire now as well, which sucks. When I got it, I was grandfathered into the everlasting FID. So moving back up, you can also register handguns or change your residency if you wanted to. We're not going to check that. So these are the main 2 you're going to check, followed by this fill out form, which you should read and then go through. Moving on to the final step, enter your permit for how many handguns you want, so how many permits, and then are you a police officer or federal, state law enforcement agency, and have you been fingerprinted for firearms in New Jersey? So this is specific if you have gotten a CCW or a different FID in the past. So if you have not, then you're going to hit no. If you have, then you can hit yes, but just note it's for firearms specifically. So you acknowledge that exclusion of a permit to purchase a handgun can only be used for purchasing handguns itself, blah, 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 blah. Let's move on. Now you're going to enter your personal information. This is all the basic stuff. I don't have to really tell you more about this. The next step I will tell you about is at the very end of the personal information. There is something for entering a image or a photograph. So it's very simple. They tell you exactly what they're looking for, but basically it's a passport styled photo. So if you don't have that, you can use an app on your phone to simply get one of those or just snap it and crop it accordingly. So it's in a 1:1 ratio, maximum of 2 inches by 2 inches. Essentially, this is for your permit or if you were going to carry your handgun. So I don't know why this is actually here on the FID. There is no picture on the FID card, but maybe that changed. Either way, this is what that image is going to end up looking like. Next up is the identification part. So that's right over here, your social security number, your driver's license, US citizen, all of that important information. Again, this is going to be specific to you. Next up is the contact information. So this has to be your actual information for your residential address and your specific information for contacting you, for your cell phone number and email. Make sure this information is correct, because they will especially email you to actually get your FID card and purchaser permits. So you have to enter the correct email. They ask you to confirm it. Just double check it yourself to make sure this is the actual email that you want to be contacted with. Here we have the background section. So this is pretty straightforward. Again, you're going to be entering all the specific questions over here. Read them, make sure they actually apply to you. If anything here is a question for you and you don't think you're going to be able to actually list this information to get your permit, I would suggest speaking to a licensed attorney in order to make sure that you can actually get this permit and not have any issues. We're now up to the references part of the application. So here you're going to enter the information for reference 1 and reference 2. This is so they can get their forms when on step 3, and they can enter the information, basically just verifying you're a real person and you're not insane. So over here we have the specifics for these individuals. Again, make sure the contact information, specifically the phone number and email address, most importantly, is correct. Otherwise, they're not going to get these emails and you're going to have issues and slow down your application. So make sure that the emails for both references, as well as all the information over here, is correct. Finally, you're going to have the review stage. So it's going to simply show you all the information that you have filled out up until now. Make sure it is all factual and good. And then you're going to do the acknowledgements. Again, make sure that this is actually for you, and make sure that you are filling this out accordingly with who you are, and that you are agreeing to pay the required amount of money for the applications accordingly. Now, I'm not going to hit continue, because when I do, this is actually going to trigger an email to these random email addresses, and I don't want to spam New Jersey and slow down other applications. So instead, I'm going to just talk about the next steps. So again, now that you have submitted step 1, you are moving on to step 2, which is the actual fingerprinting. So fingerprinting is done through the scheduling, which you just did at the end of step 1. And now you go to your actual fingerprinting appointment, you give them the fingerprint, and they will move on to the next step of the process. Now, they don't know any information about your application. They don't know anything about you, what you submitted, and they don't know the status of what's going on in the police department. It's a completely separate thing. So you're just going to go there, get fingerprinted, pay, and go. So fingerprinting in and of itself is going to cost a little bit of additional money, $60 something, and then plus tax on top of that, or theft. So essentially this entire application, if you wanted to get just your FID card, one purchaser for pistol permit, as well as fingerprinting, is going to be somewhere in the $125 space, right? Plus tax, yada, yada. Moving on through from step number 2 to step number 3, we have the references. So the references are going to be emailed with the forms they're going to have to fill out. Just make sure they fill it out, all right? The 2 people that you entered, they could even be family members for the FID card. So it could be anyone, as long as you trust them and they can actually fill in the forms that they need to, and that they're in contact with you and checking their email on a constant basis. Make sure that it's done. And finally, you should be emailed from your local police department once everything goes through. It can take up to 30 days. It can even take longer. It depends on the time of year, where things are sitting, holiday seasons, etc. So just be note of that. And once you do get your FID card and pistol purchaser permits, you can simply go to your local gun shop. The actual card should come online. You can print it out if you would like. I do suggest doing that and then keeping it in your wallet like you saw I had at the beginning of the video. And once you go to your local shop or store or range, you can actually enter your information and get a firearm, which is super, super exciting. Now, for pistols, it is going to use up your permit. So now you have no more permits if you only got one. If you have a second one, it's basically attached to your FID, or whatever number is going to be on your FID card. That's basically your firearm ID card for the state of New Jersey and all things. It's going to follow over to your concealed carry permit. There's no way, as far as I know, to change that number. It just is what it is. Whatever it's randomly assigned to you, it is what it is. And then essentially you have that number, use that for your pistol purchaser permit, and you get your firearm. Good to go from there. And if you have any questions, of course, leave them down in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to answer them myself, as well as the rest of the internet. We'll all be here and happy to answer your questions. Either way, do consider subscribing, because we are growing a great community here of like-minded individuals, and we hope to have awesome content in the future. So please do subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.